Hey, Lions Nation! We're back with another exclusive video bringing you all the latest news about our beloved Detroit Lions. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss anything about the team. Now, let's get into the news. The report didn't leak, it erupted. ESPN's alert slammed into the league like a meteor, splitting the night open and sending shockwaves through every franchise office, every film room, every dimly lit bar. Where fans were still awake arguing about cap space and roster moves, Detroit had done the unthinkable, the surreal, the dangerous. Davante Adams, this universe's version of him. A receiver forged from ritual, precision, and the kind of hunger that makes defensive backs feel something close to prayer was going to the Lions. Not rumored, not considered, done. The headline glowed violently across screens. Davante Adams closes deal with Detroit Lions to become Dan Campbell's lethal weapon, but headlines didn't capture what truly arrived in Detroit. That night, the air shifted first. A pulse, faint but undeniable, shook the concrete foundations beneath Ford Field, as if the building felt the gravitational pull of the new presence entering its orbit. Rumors whispered that Adams had not traveled by plane at all, that he had simply appeared at the team facility shortly after midnight, stepping out of the shadows like a figure summoned by ritual rather than contract. In this world, Adams was not merely a route technician or an elite receiver. He was an architect of separation, a master of angles that defied geometry, a phantom who moved not through space, but around it. When he walked through the facility doors, every fluorescent light sputtered as though choked by the aura that followed him. His cleats, slung over his shoulder, swung like pendulums, marking the beginning of a new era. Staff members in the hall froze, conversations dying mid-sentence, spines straightening instinctively as if standing in the presence of something that existed outside the spectrum of normal human competition. Dan Campbell emerged from his office like a war general roused by the entrance of a new god of battle. His eyes had seen fury, grit, violence, but nothing like the calm, predatory confidence in Adams' posture. They didn't shake hands at first, they merely stood there, two forces appraising one another. The silence was thick, coiled, electric. Finally, Campbell nodded once. Adams nodded back. That was enough. Every man in that hallway felt it. The pact had been sealed. Detroit hadn't signed a star. Detroit had tethered itself to a weapon, beautiful, brutal, inevitable. Word spread through the locker room like heat from a wildfire. Players whispered, some excited, some nervous, some quietly terrified at the idea of sharing a field with a man who ran routes like incantations, who stole defenders' balance like a thief slipping rings from sleeping fingers. And beneath the stadium, deep in the spine of the facility, where the echoes of decades-old roar still lingered, the walls themselves seemed to vibrate, as if aware that a new apex predator had stepped into its den. Before we move on, take a second to drop a like and subscribe. That way, you'll stay up to date with every exclusive Lions update, and you'll even have a chance to win an official Detroit Lions jersey. Let's keep going. His first walk onto the Ford Field turf was not witnessed by fans, nor captured in high definition for social media. It happened in the early dawn, while the stadium slept under a sky bruised purple and red, clouds swirling like something wounded yet watching. A single maintenance worker saw him, a silhouette in the tunnel, still as stone. And then he moved. Adams stepped into the open expanse of the stadium, and the silence cracked around him. His presence bent the atmosphere in subtle but unmistakable ways. The air seemed to thrum, the stadium lights flickering as though adjusting their brightness to illuminate him properly. He dropped his bag on the sideline and walked toward the far hash marks, with the confidence of a man approaching his throne. When he took his first stance, knees bent, hands relaxed, shoulders loose, the turf itself felt colder. And when he released into motion, time stuttered. Adams didn't run routes, he sculpted them, carved them into the air like strokes from a blade dipped in moonlight. His feet whispered against the turf, each step a note in a violent symphony only he understood. The cuts were sharp enough to wound shadows, the hesitations were surgical enough to unmake defenders without touching them. And every break, every head tilt, every acceleration felt like the stadium itself had to adjust to keep up with him. As the sun crept over the horizon, casting long gold beams through the dome, coaches began to arrive. They froze upon seeing him move, wide-eyed, breath caught, clipboards hanging limp at their sides. One assistant murmured, "He's not running, he's rewriting." Dan Campbell appeared last, arms crossed, jaw set in a look of grim satisfaction that bordered on reverence. He watched Adams shred the empty field with movements too efficient to be mortal, too deliberate to be instinct. On a final rep, Adams burst toward the corner of the end zone, body leaning at an angle that should have broken balance, but instead created a perfect line, the kind that makes defensive backs reconsider their careers. The ball, thrown by a trembling equipment assistant drafted into emergency quarterback duty. Arse high, Adams didn't leap. He ascended, catching the ball with a slow, cruel grace, as though plucking a star from the sky. When he landed, the impact echoed, not loudly, not broadly, but deeply reverberating through the concrete, through the empty bleachers, through the bones of every man watching. Campbell walked forward at last. "They're not ready," he said quietly. Adams lowered his visor. "They don't need to be." Round them, Ford Field felt alive, breathing, waiting, trembling. News continued exploding across the league. Analysts panicked, fans gasped, opponents swallowed hard. But inside Detroit, the truth had already taken root. Davante Adams wasn't coming to elevate the offense. He wasn't coming to complement it. He wasn't coming to strengthen it. He had come to ignite it and burn every defense in the league down to ash. We bring you the latest Lions news every single day, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And of course, drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's news. Your voice makes a difference for Lions Nation. See you in the next video.